Sikempulaphula FM ngu-Ayanda Jia ke lo phuma kamnandi esithi love me ukanti ke mphulaphuli ebendikuthembisile ke ndathi ndiza kuphathela phayana ke uViolet Maila osuka phaa ke kwi Music in Africa Foundation sakuphathela yena ke phaa ke ukanti ke sesimbambile ngoku emnxebeni masive phaa ke kwincoko yakhe Violet can you hear me on your side? Good day, Violet. Right, ke mphulaphula FM and ndiyacinga into yokubana ngaba khona nje i-connection problem esinayo but ndizaphinda ndimtshekishe.
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, okay, thank you. I can also hear you now. I couldn't hear you at the beginning. Violet, let me thank you for allowing us to have this interview with you, and let me give you this opportunity to greet our listeners and to introduce yourself.
Sure, with pleasure. Sanbonani Molweni. My name is Violet Maila. I am the project manager at the Music in Africa Foundation. Music in Africa Foundation, we do work to support African musicians, not just South Africa, but musicians across the continent in many different ways. One of them is through an online portal called musicinafrica.net, where you are able to share information about yourself as an artist, as well as to gain all information related or all content related to African music. What we also do is NAMA projects across the board, lots of different projects that support the industry in a way to give capacity to musicians, to give training and skills sharing to artists. And this project that I hope I'm here to talk about, Namhlanje, is the MusicXworlds Project, which is a spoken word and music project, is one of those ways in which we try to develop programs and projects that accommodate artists across the board.
Thank you, Violet. Please tell us more about the MusicXworlds Project. We really want to hear more about it.
Sure. Music and Words, as I said, is a spoken word project, spoken word and music project that was implemented by the Music in Africa Foundation in partnership with the European Union delegation to South Africa, as well as the Cultural Relations Platform. And what we did is we had a call for applications to invite musicians and spoken word artists in South Africa, only South Africa, to apply for a chance to participate in this developmental project. And the reason for this project was that we wanted to find a way where we can facilitate interdisciplinary exchange between musicians and spoken word artists in South Africa, and also to give them a chance to showcase their work so that at the end of this exercise, they are able to go and perform and tour and engage with European audiences at the end of November, at the end of 2022. So it really was a way that we can actively strengthen collaboration between South Africa as well as the European festivals, bookers, and programmers. So since a call for application that closed in, October? I think, no, we're in November now. Closed towards end of September, where people could apply online through our digital platform. From that process, Tolama applications of up to 105. And from those 105 applications, 10 were selected. This is both musicians and spoken word artists. 10 were selected to come and do training, which was really important because when we create projects, we really try to create environments where artists are not only here to showcase, but there's a learning element to it. So the top 10 that were selected got the opportunity to Siam Tembu and Tandintuli, for example, who took them through what it takes and what you need to do and be prepared as a musician or an artist to travel across Europe in the time of COVID, especially COVID has really changed a lot in terms of how people are able to travel and how they're able to earn. So what we were able to do is give workshops to those 10 artists, which was in total about just under 30 individual people. So they got to go sit through workshops on Thursday, the 28th of October. And then on the Friday, they had the opportunity through a live stream that we did to then perform to an audience that was digital. So the audience was not only the general public apekaya, but it was also an audience of potential festival bookers and programmers. So they looked at that top 10, and from that top 10, they're going to select 5 who will then have the opportunity to travel at the end of 2022 across Europe.
This is so nice. So is this the first Music in Words project? And if it is the first one, are you guys going to have other projects like maybe next year for the people who were not able to apply this year, or rather the people who are not aware of the project?
Sure. I mean, Onkumseben's way too is dependent on funding in general. As the Music in Africa Foundation, we are an NGO, so we try and we find funds for these kind of things. And it's always, everything we start, we don't try and do things once off. We try and kind of create a level of sustainability. And so for us, I think after a very successful experience that we had on the 28th and the 29th of October, we will definitely be looking to see how we can grow this project. I can't confirm that we will have this project running in the next year, but we definitely are striving to see if we can get the same funders and or other funders on board to see that we can create a project like this again. Because we've seen now, just from having conversations with the people the artists that participated, they really, really, really saw the value of this project and have definitely shown that there is a need for a project like this. So in our fundraising endeavors, always trying to find a way to see that we can bring projects back.
Violet, we cannot ignore the fact that South Africa is made up of a lot of cultures with different languages. Now, when we talk spoken word, there's a lot of languages to be considered there. Now, I just want to know if English was one of your requirements when they were submitting their work, or did you consider all of the languages?
No, English was not a stipulated or preferred language. But we really, as you said, rightfully said, we have an understanding that we live in a multicultural, diverse country. And so our applicants were able to apply in whatever language they chose, or, whether it was vernacular or in English. So we did receive applications applications were open to all 11 official languages of the country. So we had a very good jury that made the selection from the 105 to the top 10. And that jury was a very diverse jury, not just in terms of the expertise in music, but also in spoken word, but diverse also in just understanding the multilingual element of our country. So we had a jury that could review those applications fairly in all languages that they were submitted in. So they had to the applicants had to apply via a digital space, in that they submitted a video of their performance. This was both for musicians as well as for the spoken word artists. And based on that, the application was reviewed.
All right. According to the brief I got, it does mention that there's a high possibility that the top 5 artists have been announced and will perform for a European audience. So can you just please tell us more about that?
Sure. So the top 5, because Friday's event, which was the showcasing, was purely for those top 10 to showcase to a very small audience physically in town. And then the bigger scheme of it was that the selection of the top 5 was not announced, because the people that are viewing that were viewing the live stream to be able to select the top 10 from the top 5 from the top 10 was this network of international or European specifically bookers. So they will review the applications based on the online performance, and from that, not right now, but at a later stage within this year or early next year, we'll be able to announce who the top 5 will be that will then have the opportunity to go and showcase in Europe.
All right. When you were selecting, or when the artists were submitting their work, was there an age restriction, and also was there a location restriction?
No. So the call for applications was open to South African spoken word artists and musicians, so there was no geographical limitation in the context of South Africa. So you could come from anywhere, and we had people that applied from all over the country. And then in terms of age, I think it's important to what was really important for us in this exercise was to make sure that what we are showcasing is what we term as export ready. So these are artists that are, yes, up and coming, but have a product in terms of what they produce that will be easily sort of consumed, even if I could say that, by an international audience. So the age restriction, there was an age restriction because this was a youth-focused project.
Okay.
So the applicants had to be between the ages of 18 and 40 years old. Because, like I said, this was a youth-focused project. So there was, in terms of geography, there was absolutely no limitations. Anyone could apply from anywhere across the country. But there was an age limitation or age restriction, if I could call it that, to the applicants.
All right. Violet, where can we find Music in Africa Foundation in your social media platforms?
So like I said, we have an online platform, which is a website, which is www.musicinafrica.net. So that's where you can find all our content, and also where artists can register to kind of create a networking place for themselves online. So that's through our website. And then we are at Music in Africa on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram as well, at Music in Africa. That's where you can find us online.
All right, Violet. Before I let you go, just some words of motivation to the spoken words artists out there. You know, it's been a very challenging time for artists entirely because of the COVID-19 thing going on, the fact that they couldn't be on stage, they couldn't perform for such a long period of time. I just want you to say just a few words of motivation to our spoken words poets who maybe have given up on their craft because of what has been happening in our world, just to motivate them.
So I think I would say really the work we do as the Music in Africa Foundation is to create opportunities, excuse me, and to find ways to give artists opportunities to really showcase what they did. A lot of what especially the spoken word artists said to us was that it was really exciting for them to even participate in this project because it wasn't only about a lot of competitions, if I could call them, or a lot of opportunities for spoken word is like write your poem, send it to us. But this one had a different angle in that it was about performance, So I think that's really important for artists to consider perfecting that craft, perfecting that element of what they do, because opportunities are starting to open up and exist for performance, especially within spoken word. I think we have to keep the arts alive, and we have to kind of strive to use the arts, especially in these difficult times. The arts is a powerful tool that speaks to people at very, very varied levels where different things can't really reach. And I think it's really important for guys to keep practicing their craft, keep engaging and finding opportunities. Opportunities do exist. Sometimes it's really difficult to find where these things are, because it's, things are on the internet, you need data and that kind of thing. But find these opportunities, register on Music in Africa website, go to visit our website, because opportunities are there at many different levels. Like I said, Music and Words is only one project that we do. There's many other projects that we do. We have a music conference coming up at the end of November called Access, and that is, one of the bigger Pan-African music conferences that we host in a different country, every African country every year, and this year we'll be hosting it in South Africa, and we will be streaming it online as well. But I think, I would suggest and encourage musicians, spoken word artists in general, to register for that, look at, or even more so, engage with us online and watch the stream so that you get to see what the pertinent points are in the industry at the moment, engage and get really good information and content from international speakers and that kind of thing. So I really would encourage everyone to keep doing what you're doing, because it's important and it's necessary, and we really have to work from a positive space where we know that this is not going to be the situation forever. So we keep working at our craft so that when things get back to normal, we are ready for things to be back to normal.
All right, Violet, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for the information that you have given us.
It's my pleasure. Please visit Music in Africa website, www.musicinafrica.net. You'll find a lot of information that would be useful to you there.
We'll do so. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
And you too.